Well, what was on your mind this morning?
So, there's something a little concept I thought I'd throw out there, and you guys can think about it and play with the idea. It's the concept of establishing clarity in our intention, and especially in regards to pressure. But I think this can also apply to, like I've seen it a lot with keeper, how the wild mustangs, they go really slow and they take their time, and then at some point you just kind of want to start preparing them for, somebody comes up to them that maybe doesn't have as much feel or timing. Hey, horsey, right? Like preparing them for just a bit more of a matter-of-fact kind of approach. So clarity in that regard, but specifically in regard to pressure. So an idea that I think about quite a bit, it's the balance of being soft and taking our time and setting up the situation where the horse is feeling positive about the pressure, and then the balance between making it as clear as possible and not allowing the horse to struggle for longer than it needs to struggle, right? So like, if I'll just use an example of like circling game, right? Send the horse out, and this is all assuming that the horse understands it. You're past the teaching phase, right? You're not teaching the horse how to go left and right on the circle. But now the horse understands, send, there's the allow. Now I want to start asking for trot or maintain gait, or just starting to increase the understanding. So in order to make sure that I'm not in the micromanaging phase or the stage of having to do a lot because I want to be soft, I end up having to put a lot of pressure on, or a little bit of pressure on for a long time. And what I've seen, and we were talking about it actually with Coulter yesterday, a lot of times me being that way is actually pushing my horse away from me for longer than I need to, versus if I could be more clear and my horse was more responsive to the pressure, I could get there a lot quicker and then be in neutral for longer. So a little analogy I like to throw out there is, imagine you're driving, you have two cars, right? You have a Ferrari, and you have, say, like a Toyota Corolla. No offense if anyone has a Toyota Corolla. I don't have a Ferrari, so. So you get on the highway and you're going, you're merging, you get to go 0 to 60 miles an hour, 0 to 70 miles an hour. If I get in that Toyota Corolla and I need to get up there pretty quick, I'm probably stepping on that thing about as much as it can take, right? Really putting 100% effort to get to where I want to go. Now my Ferrari has a lot more capacity, it's a lot more sensitive, so I can get there with a lot less effort. And I feel like with horses sometimes we can create the Ferrari or the Corolla depending on how we apply the pressure. And sometimes I think where people get in trouble is that we're afraid to put too much pressure on because we don't want to offend our horse. We don't want to affect the relationship. So, like if I send my horse out in the circle, the sending him out and then lifting my stick and spending too much time in the phases of maybe smacking the ground and clucking and doing a lot of that is the Toyota Corolla feel. It's not effective enough, but it's a lot of pressure for a long time. Versus if I could just go through the phases and be more effective in my phases and not be afraid to touch my horse. Just because I touch my horse doesn't mean it's a phase 4, it's a correction. I like to be able to go, hey, am I allowed or are you accepting of me to take my string or my stick and be able to touch you on any part of your body with a little driving game? And all I'm doing is more effectively transferring my intention through that, right? Like I can put a little, come on, that's the idea, you're almost there, let me help you, versus spending a lot of time, come on, you're almost there. And as soon as I start to get the horse to understand and to be more clear, oh, you want me to go out here, now I can go to neutral much quicker. And the better that gets, and the more responsive they are in that way. And think about the time required, right? So I was trying to explain this to Ryan, and I haven't found a way to explain this I'm happy with the explanation, but I'll try anyway. So you think about, for me to get this exercise done, exercise A, it's going to take X amount of pressure to get that to happen, right? So is it better, here's like a question, right? Is it better for me to say we'll take 10 minutes, and it's going to take that as a numerical number, value, we're going to take X amount of pressure and we're going to apply it over 2 minutes. So it's a more concentrated amount, it's more clear, but for a shorter amount of time. I'm putting pressure on for 2 minutes and I'm getting relief or reward for 8 minutes. Or do I put pressure on for 8 minutes, a lot less pressure, but now I've put pressure on for 8 minutes and I've only given my horse 2 minutes of relief, right? So like that's that question that like I don't think that for every horse there's a cut and dry answer, so I'm throwing out the concept. But I like to think about that kind of stuff to go, okay, is the teaching phase there enough so now I can start helping my horse be clear sooner, and then in turn give more relief, which then will increase my connection, increase my rapport, increase the relaxation, all because it's more clear, versus trying to keep it all nice and fluffy, but it takes so long that now I'm putting pressure on for a long time. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really like to kind of think that way about the application once I start getting in there when a horse is struggling a little bit, and the clearer it is, obviously the more black and white. I use a little, I was talking to Dennis about like almost imagine like you're out there and your horse is blindfolded. They don't know what you want. They have no idea. They're learning, but a lot of times they don't have any idea. And the quicker we can go, here, like let me help you find this. This is exactly what I want. Oh, thank you. Too bad. So that idea of being more clear is going to really help them in the long run.